Hello the internet! It is Saturday the 4th of September 2021 and welcome back to the channel. Fourth of September. It's been a week since we last spoke. Hello YouTube, how is it? Before we move on any further, can we get these likes up? I see 4 people watching and I see 2 upvotes and 2 downvotes. Now those 2 downvotes came in before I even began, so we know what's happening. We're having trolls that are watching my content waiting for anything to thumbs it down, so the only thing we can do back is to thumbs it up. So if you can turn those downs to ups, that'd be terrific, or at least show the downs that we don't really care. We're always going to have more ups than downses. That'd be really terrific. In the chat, Mindy says, good evening. I said, good evening. How'd you enjoy your vacation? It was amazing. Looked like it. And that frog, super cute. Now, Mindy, I thought that frog was on vacation. That was a frog local to you by the sound of it. It's still there. This is kind of strange too. I did put a couple of extra chats in, but they never turned up. I did it multiple times and it never popped up, but I did say, it'd be rad if you could record the sound that thing makes. That could be difficult. Whenever I record frogs croaking, I just leave my phone next to it and walk away for an hour and then come back and skim through whatever I've recorded and find the audio file, the peaks. Avery's brag book. What a cool handle. Hello, Avery. And by the way, I didn't give anybody a little cheers here. Mindy, cheers. Avery, cheers. How's it going, Gibbs? Oh, that's Jason. Jason, you've got a cool handle on YouTube. Avery's brag book. I like that. Hey, Mindy. I mean, on DLive. Yeah. I know who you are. It's on your front porch. You got a little gray tree frog. I want to take a look at that. Actually, I want to have a look. And thank you for the 4 upvotes. I see 4 versus 2 down. That's much appreciation. I want to have a look at that on the internet machine. Timski, hey Mindy, Avery's and Ben on. Hey Tim, how you doing, man? And David's in the house. Good morning, Gibbs. David, how you doing? Nice to see you. Nice to know you. Let me go over. Well, this is the Chisel chat. We've got it playing on screen now. That's the handy thing about the chat on the screen. But let's go across and have a look at this frog. It's called a gray tree frog, but it's in Missouri. Gray tree frog, Missouri. Ooh, that's a big bugger, isn't it? Gray tree frog. Gray's tree frog. So it's not actually the color, it's the name of the frog. Oh, it's a beauty. Wow. What a beauty. Damn, Mindy, that's so cool. Okay, that's for a rad looking frog. There's one also in Australia apparently. I saw the word Australia come up there. We got a very similar one here. Huh. Very similar. This is more of our normal tree frog look. But you got a bit more of a speckledy malted color. Rad. Love frogs, Mindy. You got one in your front yard like that. That's so cool. Dougski! Dougski? David, I'm doing well, thanks. Gibbs, how are you? So just to be super quick on this, I'm not going to dwell on it. And I'm not going to talk much about it because we're on YouTube, but I did get my jab on Monday. 8:30 a.m. Monday, I got the jab. That's all I'll say. Well, I got the AZ. That makes it any clearer for you. And I've had a pretty rough week. Currently, it is Saturday, so it's been 6 days. 6 days and an extra half an hour on top. It's 9 a.m. Saturday morning. And for the last 2 days, I've had terrible mouth ulcers. All over the roof of my mouth. Just all gunked up and ulcery and can't eat can eat, but chewing, as soon as you put your mouth together, the teeth together, it's inflamed. It's disgusting. My skin, actually today my skin feels a bit better, but the rest of the week my skin has been sensitive to the touch. Like anywhere I touch my skin, it's like, ooh, don't touch there again. Really overly sensitive. Had the worst headache. I've never had a headache like that before. Holy crap. Saturday. Monday night, so 12 hours after the injection, I had the worst night. I don't really want to explain it. It was really gnarly. Went to bed at 8:30. By midnight, I woke up, or didn't wake up, didn't even get to sleep. But by midnight, I got out of bed, and I was in agony in my head. And it wasn't a headache; it was a head pain, and it was like everything just squashing my skull together. And I took three actually, paracetamol. Nothing happened. Tried to go back to sleep, ended up staying awake till 4 o'clock watching YouTube videos on headaches associated with AZ. By about 4:30, I drifted back off to sleep, still with the pulsing head. Woke up about 8:30 in the morning. Headache was still in full swing. Took 3 more of those tablets. By about 2:30 in the afternoon, the headache had dropped down to about a 0.5 out of 10, whereas before it was like a 12 out of 10. So I'm pretty scared about getting the second install, but that's coming on the 22nd of November, and then we'll reassess with whether there's got to be 3 jabs or there's got to be multiple boosters, and because I don't do well with this stuff. I think we've assessed that I don't do well with this kind of thing. I already knew this. This is why I didn't want to do it originally. But there was a bunch of outward pressure from family to go and get it, so I did. But you know me, when I got the remember when I had the punch biopsy in my skull for the skin cancer, and I ended up in the hospital. I don't really do well with things like that. Like, and what's this mouth thing I've got going now? Like, and the mouth always feels way gnarlier, right? Because it's in your mouth. So I'm not in a good way, but it's been 6 days. I've felt sick for the last 6 days. I actually went and got a COVID test. By the way, that came back negative. So did I just say the word? You can't catch the C word by having the jab. But everything points to me having it right now, except the result says negative. It was kind of refreshing too. The test I got yesterday was not as invasive as the first time around. The first time around, they shoved like a whole plastic thing up my nose. I felt it right at the back of my head. This time they just put a little whoosh, and you were done. They did it. It was double-sided. They put it, and then they turned it around. They went, and that was it. Last time it was only up my nose. So didn't have any issues with yours, Mindy? Yeah, I've heard people have no issues, and I was frightened, and I had issues. I don't know if it was mental, whatever it was, but I do not want that again. Ah! What was that noise? I think the house is settling. I do not want that again. I do not want that ever again, actually. That was ridiculous. I hope when I get my second shot, it's not as bad as that, but that was a terrible, terrible experience. I would not wish that on anybody. Felt like I was dying, like really bad. The headache was I'm 46. I've never had a headache like that before. Never had a headache that had that kind of ferocity before. Terrible. Don't go to hospital if you can help it. We don't need to go to hospital, Avery, to get tested. We have drive-through tests here. Tim, the second AZ is fine. The first one causes the most reaction. With the P, it's the other way around. Okay, gotcha. Well, look, I don't want to dwell too hard on that because that's not the content of this stream. But for those of you that watch me on DLive, and I'm looking at Avery here, mainly, Mindy pops in from time to time. Tim, yeah, so-and-so. Rob Max in the house. Did I even say g'day to Rob? G'day, Rob. How you doing, man? For those that do watch me on DLive, and Rob's one of them as well, we've been kind of throwing around, for the last 2 weeks, we've been using the studio feature in Restream.io. Now, this is a thing that has been there for a while, but it almost eluded me for some time. Well, it did elude me. I guess it wasn't very clear what the studio was used for in Restream. I mean, the catchphrase is live stream from your browser, which is unique, sort of. A lot of places do that. It's not needed if you already live stream from OBS. And so therefore I never looked at it, because why would I need to stream directly from my browser when I've already got OBS sorted how I need it? So I thought this is not for me. This is something that I'm not going to touch. The only reason I do use Restream is for and when I bought the package, it was for the RTMP pull server. And that was how I was doing my IRL streams. Now that's all changed in the past too. So I now use, ironically, a browser-based solution to do what RTMP pull does, and it does it better, and it's remotely accessible without having to use, what was that Windows program I was using, the TeamViewer? Don't have to use any of that crap. So I've got that stuff sorted, and therefore I was going to let my Restream.io subscription subside and not renew it, because realistically, streaming to multiple platforms at once, I don't really care about Facebook and whatever. If I'm on DLive, I'd rather I just do that because I've already paid for the service. But while I was looking at Restream, I saw the link, and it's been there forever. I saw the link to the studio, and I was like, might as well have a look at that, right? I've paid for it. So when I got in there and had a quick look, I was like, hold on a second. Isn't this is misleading, what they're telling you can do with it. There's other things you can do with it. Like you can tweak it, and using a Windows capture or a display capture in OBS, you can use that for a version of Zoom or a version of Skype, if you like, where you can have multiple call-ins. So that's what we've been doing with it on DLive. And I gotta tell you, it works so well and so flawlessly. We've actually tweaked a bunch of my stuff on DLive, mainly the cap game, to be able to include live call-ins on the cap game. And then I got thinking, well, why can't we do a similar tweakage for interviews? Now I use the word interview, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just use the word chats, right? Like live chats with a guest. We could do that using the existing setup or layout, if you like, of Restream.io Studio. So I'm going to try it. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to open up Chrome. It's all done in Chrome browser for me. Let me open up Chrome. And once we've got in here, if anybody wants to join me, I'm going to throw a link in the chat. And for you playing at home, all you need to do is click the link. You know, arguably you'd be better off having a set of Kansas and some kind of way to a good camera, but you can do it on your phone. So here, okay, so this is the situation. Here I am. If I go over here I am. Okay, so here I am as it would normally be. This is the layout, right? Now, we do have a chat, which is obviously not fulfilled right now because no one's chatting. Can someone just chat to verify that the chat is working on screen here? Avery, you did the last chat message. You said, I'm having second thoughts about getting, you've already had your jabs, haven't you? Okay, so Tim said no, and Mindy said chat. So there we go. So the chat comes up on screen. Now it is backwards from the YouTube chat. The YouTube chat comes from the bottom up. The studio chat comes from the top down. I'm not fussed either way about that. I mean, in an ideal world, Rob Mack, there you go. In an ideal world, it would go the other way, but it is going this way. So I just, for a matter of fact, I just leave it. The other thing to note is you're seeing my image, but if I was to cut off there, the image we're seeing here now is direct from the camera. When we cut over here, the image you're seeing is direct from the camera onto a lousy monitor, and then the monitor is being captured in OBS. So the coloring is slightly off, and that's because, and I never thought this would be a reason for me to be concerned, but the reason that color is different is because when I bought the monitor that I'm using right here to capture, I didn't think I'd use this monitor for anything except on stream stuff. And so this monitor is like a cheap $66 pile of crap from Philips. It's literally the cheapest thing I could buy with an HDMI source input. So what I'm doing, I bought a new one. There's a couple of other reasons why I did this, but I did buy a better one. And this existing lousy junk is going to go on that side of my stream in a vertical fashion for other overlays, such as when we play the cap game, you want to have iTunes on a separate display. You want to have, I got some cool text stuff that I edit on the fly and it pumps back into the feed. That way I'll have a decent color corrected monitor that'll hopefully match the GH5 and blah, 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 blah. But what I want to do right now, and I'm going to throw it open to anybody, this link in the chat, if anybody wants to join in, that's the link. You've literally got to just click it. When you come in, I will see you in a waiting room. And in that waiting, and this is the reason why that link I've just pumped. Okay, we'll get that off the screen. So I've got to work on a few things here, but that link I just pumped in the chat, that link will stay the same. So if you ever want to call in on my streams, you just got to, and we're on this scene, you've just got to click that link. It will never, I will never refresh it and get a new one. I'll always maintain that link. And you might say, but that's a bit sketchy, dude, because then any troll could do that. It's like, yeah, they could, but I've still got to approve them. That if a troll or if a bunch of trolls goes, oh, let's go and bombard Gives, they can come into the waiting room and they just sit there. No one else can see or hear them except me, and I can mute them and I can just leave them there. So it'll almost be like an ultimate, like, you think you're trolling me? I'm a trolling you. And I'll just leave them in the waiting room, sitting there with, they can hear everything. It's like they're next door to the interview, but they just can't come in. I've kind of like that, actually. So that's how that's going to work. Now, what'll happen here, and this is the reason I'm testing this here today, is I'm not 100% certain if I'm going to use this for this method, simply because the way that Restream and the way that the studio works in Restream.io, it's all mouse clicked, and there is no way to trigger that with hotkeys, unfortunately. I have tweeted at Restream and said, I love your studio for the things that I'm using it for. It's really, really rad, but can you please implement hotkeys? Just a simple, you want to change the view to full screen for that guest, there should be a command for that, right? And if there was, then I can trigger that on the Stream Deck by a hotkey command of its own. That would be sick if we have an interview and we're chatting and I don't even have to look and I can just click and make the guest full screen. Like we talked about with the monitor behind and stuff. It's a similar kind of setup, but this way seems a lot more fluid and a lot more, it's definitely a lot easier as a streamer to navigate. Like, no strange audio situations, no doubles up. Everything's just straight into OBS and straight back out. And how sick it is, and this is the big reason we've been using it on the cap game, is that I can feed down my microphone or down the pipe that goes into the guest's ears. So when a guest comes on, it's critical that they hear everything I hear in real time. Otherwise, you get latency, you get a strange situation where I'm ahead of the guest and they're behind, and then the chat, and then that doesn't work, right? Especially with music and the cap game. So what I've managed to do is, using loopback audio, which is a freaking amazing program if you're on a Mac, create a pipe, if you like, which goes into Restream Studio, and that pipe includes my microphone, all the other audio sounds that we're hearing from OBS straight into Restream, and the guest hears that in real time. I think that's incredible. That was always a problem that I couldn't work out how to overcome, but it's quite simple in Studio. And so that's that. Perdsky, hi guys, g'day Perdbeer, how you doing, man? So, if anybody does want to call in, I mean, I'll leave this open for a moment, I suppose, but if no one wants to call in, we won't. I guess I could do a little test with... I guess I could do a little test by doing a screen capture. Actually, no, I don't want to do that because I don't want to be playing music on a YouTube stream. I do not! But what I would like to do today, if someone wants to call in as a test, that'd be really, really handy, just to see how it does work on the Tubes of You, because I know it works on DLive, but I haven't done it here yet. And then, I guess what we could do is we could throw this out to anybody throughout the week, and we could essentially have the interviews that we've always talked about doing here. We could interview people. Mindy, that's your cue. Mindy might not be able to right now. She's just got back from vacation. She might not be able to give the time, or she might be busy with other things, being away from home for a while. We have an opportunity. Well, I have an opportunity to organize, you know, like a graphic above my head or a graphic below for the guest, that kind of thing. And then we start taking requests, like, who would you like me to interview? Who do you think would make a good interview subject given whatever's going down? I've always wanted to interview the vegan cheetah, Charles Marlowe, again. I just think he's an interesting dude. He's definitely had a very interesting ride on YouTube. I don't want to be a gives a minute hog. It's not like that, Mindy, at all. You're helping. Like, that's fundamentally what this is. It's not like... Yeah, I mean, the reason I left it open for anybody is because just have a chat today just to see how this works. It's invaluable feedback for me to hear from someone, oh, dude, all I had to do was click that link and everything was cool. Because when we come down to wasting someone else's time, such as an interview, they'll probably be on a different... Like, these streams might have to be swung around time zone-wise, right? Like... Hey, we can't chat because so-and-so is not available until whatever their time. So then we'll do this stream. And what I'm saying is the problem in the past has always been trying to get the tech to work. Like, what the hell with the tech? Now, this seems like it's working perfectly. Charles will attract trolls to your channel. He's a giant army of them surrounding him. He still gets trolled? Charles still gets trolled? Really? Okay, so now what you don't hear, Mindy just did join. Mindy, can you flip your phone around? But I do see you in the waiting room. I wonder what that does. You may, now you guys can't see this, but you may need to just click off and click back on Mindy with the phone in horizontal, because it looks like it's going to stay locked. My dad just sent me a link to the SCOTUS Supreme Court USA has overruled the oh, okay. Yeah, Mindy just popped off and then she'll start it again. This is kind of pretty cool to see too, because now I can see what happened at that point. So she turned on her camera vertical, and I mean, that will work, but given the way that YouTube works in the format it is, it will be better in landscape. So we'll just wait and see how that works for her to pop back in. And there she is. So there you are, Minnie. So I can add you into the situation very easily now, just by clicking add to stream. Mindy. Oh. Uh-oh. Can you believe this? There she is. Mindy?
Yep, I hear you. It's a little choppy.
It's a little choppy for you. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a better angle for you.
But it could just be, it could be my iPad.
Okay, well, I'm going to put you on that side. So what I see at my end is your signal is extremely low, but now it's back now, and so your internet connectivity might be on the low side. Yeah, I see my bars are all green and hers are on the red. Interesting. Are you using your cell phone in your data now, or are you using Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I'm on my iPad at home using fiber.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. Well, then that could be... So it's all green now. That's intriguing. I wonder why it was red at the start. But Mindy, hello, by the way. Thank you for
Hello.
calling in. So you can see now on the... You see the screen, right? Yeah, you can position
Yes.
yourself is what I was saying, yeah. So you see what we see.
It's kind of tricky because it has me reversed.
Gotcha. Okay, I wonder if I can change that. If I maximize you, okay, so there you go. So there, your full screen, and then I can minimize you. It's still confusing for you.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. So there are.
Any difference.
You see these options here. These are all options that I have to trigger by clicking, and I would love this to be a feature which I could just bring up and make you full screen with one click while you're talking, then make me full screen, and then back to you, and then this is how an interview should run, right? Like where we can all share each other and yeah. But I just love that this is like all the stuff that we've tried before seems super difficult to get to. And this just does it, like simply, right? No dramas.
Yeah, it was very easy.
There are other things I can add, like there's these little, I mean, this is a default one here. I wouldn't put that on the screen, but you can change it to whatever you want. You can add your Twitter link and all that kind of stuff. You've seen this before in interviews. People obviously use it for this. Me personally, I probably won't touch those. But I do like the chat on screen, and I do like the simplicity of how this works. Mainly because technology always seems to get in the way of a conversation for me. And if I can forget the tech and just go into the convo, then we're good. Can you turn Mindy into a cat, Perd Beer? Can do most things, but not that. So while you're here, Mindy, tell us about your vacation.
It was fantastic. Lots of adventures, and it exceeded my expectations.
Okay. Highlights were?
The Highline Trail, which has always been on my bucket list. It's a trail that's cut into the rock face of a huge mountain range, and it's pretty narrow for most of its length. And you're literally in the clouds, but you're not as high up. If you're in Colorado and you're in the mountains, you're around 8,000 to 10,000 feet in elevation, which always kind of gives me a headache. Ooh. And I get short of breath. But this.
Uh-oh. It paused right on the this.
Was in Colorado.
Okay. So I'm now seeing your signal drop off again. That's interesting. You're on fiber, but the connectivity is a little sketch.
Oh. I have a on the top of my screen. It says Safari browser support is limited. We recommend switching to a desktop Google Chrome for the best experience.
Interesting.
But I have an iPad.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I guess maybe that means that they're still working on implementing this across all browsers. But it doesn't matter. I mean, for the sake of this, what I'm really keen to illustrate here is how seamless it is at your end, aside from the tech not maybe being, or the internet not being great. See, your signal looks low res to me.
Yeah, that might be just because of my iPad. It's kind of an older iPad.
That's true. Could be that. Yeah, that's true.
My iPhone's battery was kind of low, so I knew if I was to use my iPhone, it would probably kick out. The battery would go down, and I can't charge it because it's a 8 plus, and the
lightning cable.
The lightning cable has to connect in for the earbuds. Because I don't have wireless ones.
Gotcha. So you need to, there's only one port in it. They use it for everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There is a way here I can add our names on the screen. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that, how it looks. Your name, my name. I just think, I mean, I don't know. For an interview, I suppose that is pretty... That, when I see it like that, it's like, oh, he's using Restream. And that's the way everybody's looks. Yeah, there is a way to do it slightly different. I can make them rounded. I don't know. There's a theme. There's
That
themes.
looks better.
Yeah, the rounded one does look better. There's a news theme. There's a default. I don't know. I mean, it probably will be handy to have those up, just because when someone comes in, instead of asking who's that, at least it's a lower third. I wish you could just put up your own lower thirds. Like that's seems like such an obvious thing to include. You know, default lower user developed lower thirds. There is a darker selection here. Could make it sort of match my blue. It's a bit better, I suppose. But Mindy, your vacation, so you go, that's not a place you've been before, but you often go on vacation this time of the year, right? I remember this time last year, I think you did the La Jolie this time last year, or?
Well, last year, this time I went to Zion National Park in Utah.
Oh, okay. So it was the year before you went to that coastal one?
To La Jolla.
La Jolla, that's it, yeah. That's been 2 years now already? Far out, that went like this.
I know. I think I might go back this winter. My one of the people that joined me on this last vacation was my brother-in-law, who's who I stay with when I go to San Diego. And he was really bugging me to get out there for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So we'll see how travel is at that time.
Gotcha. And the frog, you're going to give it a name? It's always there for you? You see it whenever you go out there? Or?
Yeah, I just actually checked a little bit ago. I could show you, except I'm not sure if I can switch the camera around.
Give it a shot. Yeah, try. You can also share a screen. So if you have a photo of that on your iPad, you could then share it that way too, I guess. I mean, that'd be interesting to see how that works.
How does that? Let's see.
Avery says usually laptop webcams aren't terribly good. They're not. They're usually terribly bad. That's very true, Avery.
Let's see. Settings. No. Do I just tap on the screen? Nope.
I think, let me just try something too.
I can't figure out.
I want to see if I press this will put you back in the waiting room, I think. So tell me what you see when I do this. I just turned I guess Mindy. Yeah. So what I see is Mindy turns black and white, which means her feed is not active, but she's in the waiting. This is how it would be cool to, and I don't like it when there's no point having my name on the screen at that point. But while let's say I spoke to someone and said, "Oh, I'm going to have you on. Can you call in at?" I'll load all this up, and then they call in, and we have a bit of a chit chat. Then I say, "Okay, I'll turn you off," and then I go back and start the stream, and they're just kicking back, hearing everything. And then when I say, like, "Welcome to the show, Mindy," and then she joins in, and you see that happening, don't you, Mindy?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that is. And if I could do all that instead of using the mouse, if I could do that with the Stream Deck, that would be perfect. That'd be such a good way to stream interviews. So you can't change the camera around? You can't?
No, but I was thinking I could probably the frog would be tricky because it's so small. And it's kind of burrowed itself down into the leaf of the bromeliad. It's in a little nook and cranny of a folded leaf.
Yeah.
I made something for Peaches a few days ago. I've always had a dog door for her in the sliding glass door.
Okay.
But I have a really small sliding glass door. And so it made the part where you actually go through really, really narrow, and you have to go through sideways, and it's kind of a pain in the butt, especially like in the winter when your coat's real thick. And anyway, and I had bought a wall dog door. Sorry, I keep moving this thing the wrong way. Anyway, I had made this, bought this wall dog door, and I was going to have the guy that does work around my house install it, but he's like, there's really no good place because of different electrical lines going behind the drywall to put it. And I constructed a frame that I mount in a window. I have a bay window off my little kitchen nook that is really kind of low to the ground. And so I made this frame and put the dog door in it and then just shut the window on top of it. So now she goes through the window instead of the door.
That's cool. So now you can use the door again how it was meant to be used.
Yeah, exactly. I can go through front ways. And I'll
Classic.
show you.
Classic.
Let me see if I can get it using this camera here. Just a second here.
Perdsky's bringing up some interesting points too, but we'll get back to that, Perdview.
Let's see here. Let me move some of the chairs here and I'll get Peaches.
See, this is when I should be purposely making new full screen.
Perform.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, so there she pops out there.
There we go. Yeah. Oops, where is it? There we go. Okay.
Oh, very well done.
Peaches.
Is Peaches going to demonstrate? Is she going to demonstrate?
Get it.
Oh, there she goes.
There she goes.
Wow, just like that. The squirrel's the magic word.
Yeah, she
Classic.
falls for it every time. I'm like, do you see the squirrel?
And she's out there.
Yep.
Does she ever get a squirrel? Come back with one?
No. Did you get the squirrel? No.
Nah,
No,
no
she
squirrel.
never comes back with a squirrel. She did. She found a squirrel baby, or what's a baby squirrel called? Kit or something? I don't know.
Squirrelette? I don't know.
But I had come back from work and she didn't meet me at the door, which was really, really weird for her. And I like go in the house, I'm like calling out her name, and she's nowhere to be found. I'm like, what in the world? And I go to the backyard and she's looking at something really intently on the ground, and I can hear this little like chirping, like ee, 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 sound.
Frog.
And Peaches came, running to me, and then she ran right back to this spot. And I'm like, what is it? And she's like showing this little baby squirrel. She hadn't harmed it in any way. She was just bothering it. She kept sniffing at it and kind of nudging it with her nose. And it was surrounded by what looked like nesting material. And it was really teeny tiny. It had fur on it, so it wasn't like super new, but it couldn't really walk very well. And it was definitely really scared. And so I brought Peaches inside and locked the dog door so she couldn't get out, just so she would stop bothering it.
Wow.
And I had kind of came up with a plan that I would put the nest kind of back together in like a large planter, kind of a dish that you put a plant in, and then put it on top of the studio, because it had fallen out of the tree right next to the studio. So I figured I could get it onto the studio roof and maybe its mom would find it. So I waited about 20 or 30 minutes and I went back out there, and it was already gone.
Fair enough. So it
I'm
was
guessing,
fine. Yeah.
I'd like to think the mom came and got it.
Yeah. Wow. I thought you were saying I know you said a baby squirrel, but when you said it was making those noises, I've heard frogs making strange noises like that when they're in distress, like crying noises almost. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of frogs, the area you live in, would you consider it to be like sort of like country-ish, little rural-ish, or would you say more suburbia?
Oh yes, very much so. I mean, some people don't consider it rural, but I'm a city girl, so to me, I live in a very rural part of Missouri. So
the frog
also.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I go to great lengths to try to make at least the land that I'm in charge of, my front and backyard, to be eco-friendly, and I don't use any grass fertilizer or weed killer.
Cool.
None of the bad stuff anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't use water softener on my water. So when I water my plants, it's just whatever is, being delivered to the pipes.
Gotcha.
And anyway, so it makes for a really strong ecosystem. And there's a lot of oak trees around here. And that's one of the large components of a healthy ecosystem in this part of the country anyway, because most of the native insects here feed on oak leaves, and then the birds and the reptiles eat them, and you get really strong ecosystems.
Got it. Yeah, when you showed us that footage of the rain that time, you just had like quite a while of footage of the rain falling down. I pictured it to be sort of like a friend of mine's got I guess it's a similar kind of area. It's at the bottom of a rainforest area, and he's got frogs in his front yard and in his backyard and on the side of his house, and I kind of pictured that to be the same. I also found it interesting that frog, that gray's tree frog, like we do have a version of that in Australia that looks very similar, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
and
that means
green one. Your
Go
green
ahead.
one, I have similar ones like that here too. A couple years ago, there was a green tree frog on my split leaf, my Monstera delicioso. It's a real large leafed philodendron type of plant, and the tree frog sat there for a couple of days eating the flies.
You should
and the gnats that flew by.
Do you know there's a tree or a plant in Australia called the elephant palm frond? It's got like,
we have a elephant ear plant.
That's it. Yeah, that's the same thing with big fat.
It's not native here. We have to buy it and
right.
plant it, and it has to be brought in every winter.
Those have a similar, because where that gray tree frog is in your photos is it's in one of the shoots of a similar plant that comes up like that. And in South Australia, in Adelaide, when I used to live there used to be those elephant ear plants everywhere in the wild, and I'd always walk along and just like, I wouldn't damage them, but I'd just kind of open it up, and maybe 2 out of every 10 there'd be just tree frogs sitting in there, like brown. They call them southern brown tree frogs in Australia, really, and big, like this big too. And we had them in our yard, and I just get excited when I see that. So what I was going to say is those kinds of trees or those kinds of plants, they capture water, and the water stays in it. It's almost like a pond. Some of those frogs actually, they have their tadpoles born and birthed in that palm frond, and they grow and they live there. So they don't even touch ground. They just live in that little, it's amazing. That's what makes frogs so cool, I think. Like, what a strange.
I know. And then they eat.
Oh, damn. Just froze on they eat. I see it red. So that's interesting. I mean, I'm glad I can see this happening, but I see her signal's gone red again. But that's strange because she hasn't really moved much in the area she's in. But
the bugs that fly near the... oh, there we go. The video was pausing.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. I wonder if when it goes red for me, if it's telling me your incoming signal... It's kind of misleading. Is it telling me your internet's down, or the signal you're sending me is down, and therefore it could be my receiving signal, or it could be a combination of other things? Like, but I saw it. But
I'm guessing that it's just because I still have that warning up there that says the Safari browser support is limited.
Gotcha. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll tell guests to ideally use a desktop, or if they're on an iPhone, use a different browser, or an iPad. Just try not to use the Safari browser. Yeah. I'm using Chrome personally here on my laptop, and it seems to, I don't get that message. But Mindy, thank you.
I can try using my phone for a short time to see if it would improve it.
Yeah, do you want to try it? Yeah, give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go get it.
And while you're doing that, I'll just bump you out because you'll have to just reconnect with the phone anyway.
Okay.
So I'll bump Mindy out and I'll just have a quick chat about what Perdby was saying. Is this a direct connection? When you say a direct connection, what do you mean? Like, is this thing on kind of connection, or this is a direct internet connection? So Perdsky, you mentioned before there should be some Gibbs branding somewhere, and you said, I think you should tweak the layout. The chat is taking up too much real estate. Unfortunately, the layout is not something I can tweak like that. This is generic layouts from Restream Studio, so I can't really. Is Mindy directly connected to you? She's directly connected to Restream.studio. Yeah, Restream.io in the studio. So yes. So yeah, I can't change that layout. That's the kind of, but I can certainly add branding. I mean, the obvious thing would be a Gibbs a Minute logo up here. I guess I could do that now. I mean, how could I do that? I'd have to add image. Let me just see if I can do this. Add existing image. Oh, we got a rotating logo, of course. Yeah, I mean, at some point, would that be better? Actually, it'd be better down here, wouldn't it? Be better down here, I suppose. The only problem I can foresee with that is if that is, or I could have the guest title could be at the top. Maybe that needs to be a bit opaque as well. It's important if someone clips you without attribution. Yeah, that's true. Good point. Good point. Let me give that a little bit of a opacity, I suppose. Let's just go. Opacity, color correction should be about 80%, I'd say. Opacity is 1. Okay, let's go opacity 0.8. Doesn't really look much different. That gets covered by the live icon. Yeah, but it's not for that anyway, Perdsky. And Mindy's back in now with her iPhone. Let me just grab Mindy again. Let me just change this quickly. Go down to 0.6. So that's a bit more opaque. I'm going to bring Mindy back in, and she's got a green bar there. And Mindy, she's back. Now she's on the wrong side. Okay, that's interesting. Let's chop you over there. What does that feel like for you? Is that a better experience?
Yeah, the audio is much better, and the picture looks better too.
Okay. Now, when you say the audio is better, did you mean clearer for you, or
much clearer? Like this is just like a regular phone call.
Okay,
and,
gotcha.
Before there was a lot of choppiness, like you were talking through a fan.
Okay.
But I'm sure it was just my ancient iPad.
When you say ancient, how ancient? What model is that?
Let's see. Where does it say it on settings?
I guess it would be about this. What is it on the iPad?
Or is it like on the back or something?
Doesn't matter. I'm looking
like
at my.
I had to turn it off to get the audio to, even though I wasn't on the screen, I couldn't.
Classic.
You know I'm tech challenged though.
Dude. You're speaking to me here. I'm tech savvy, but I'm still tech challenged. I'm just wondering where I should place this logo. Perdby has got me concerned that down below logo was covering up the chat area. He's probably right. Does it look better up top there, that rotating logo, or should it be down below? And I'm not even sure if I like the opacity of it either. Now I know you can't see that unless you're looking at the stream, Mindy, because that's something that I've overlaid over the top. But I don't know. Should it be? Perdsky, what do you say? Up or down? Logo up, top, or bottom? I reckon bottom looked better. Maybe the rotating logo is the wrong instance of this. Maybe it should just be a still logo as well. I don't think the rotating logo is doing anything special there.
Oh, I have a 6th generation iPad.
Ah, the 6th. Okay. I think it will be better with different branding and not animated. Perdsky, you literally read my mind, dude. Let me change it to, I guess there is one here that I have rotating. No, just logo. I don't have it. I'll do it later, but I think you're right. I'll get rid of that and we'll do it later. Becomes too busy and distracting. Do you think up or down, Perdsky? Top or bottom? By the way, Mindy, your signal has been green the whole time. So that was definitely what we were seeing before. We were seeing the connection dropped with your old iPad for sure. Because it's full bars of green right now.
Now, can you still see me?
Yep.
I did something, and now all I can see are different people's messages. I scrolled down. I wanted to see what was down. Let's see, maybe if I could, no, that's not it. Dang it. Now I can't see you.
Interesting. While you're doing that, I don't know how to help you with that. I'm gonna try to grab this logo in without a rotation. Where is the rotating screenshot logo?
Oh, there it is.
So I guess there's options on your end as well, Mindy, what you can do and what you can't do. Like you swiped the wrong way and it brought up a different menu or something.
Yeah. But I got it back now. Now I can see us.
It's good to know that these things do happen, because if someone else said that to me while I was interviewing them, I'd be like, I don't know, I haven't been on that end yet. Where is what am I looking for? Okay, I'm just going to add this logo in. Gives a minute. Wow, I can't think right now. Hey, Mindy, is that just to change topics here, being, like, I've been very vague this week, very clouded, I suppose. Is that a common side effect with the AZ jab, to be a little aloof and a little, like, I feel like I'm struggling to get things together this week?
Well, I had the Pfizer, and I didn't have, I guess I always have that problem, so I wouldn't notice if it came upon me all of a sudden, because I'm always like that. Compared to what I was when I was younger, you know? Okay.
I've definitely felt it this week, where it's been like, I know what I want to say, or I know what I'm trying to say, and then it just doesn't come out that way.
It could just be being 46 or something.
It could be that too. It could be a bad combination of things.
That's around the same age that it started happening to me.
So this is the beautiful thing of getting old, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I got this logo here. It's going to be logo PNG. Let me add this. Let's get rid of the rotation. Wow, there's a real frustration thing with OBS. Whenever you choose a new file to upload, it defaults back to the root. Like, depending on where you've installed OBS, it never goes back to that spot. It always goes back to the root source, which is just terrible. Now that's too big. Look how big that is on the screen. Hope you guys can see that. It's massive. So we won't be using it that big. Guess we'll put it up top here. Put it up top like that. What do you say, Perdsky? I'm going to let you decide. Actually, that's still too big, isn't it? Perd Beer, I'm going to let you decide. And should it cover slightly over the top of... Guess that looks kind of cool. It's too big, Perdsky said. It was massive, wasn't it? It's funny how it defaults like that too. It comes straight in. I'll leave it like that and see what Perdsky says. I think that looks better than the rotating one. You know what? It could even... I mean, it could even go... It could even go underneath... No, it can't. It's got to be over there. Still too big? Okay, let's go down a little. Go down incrementally. Tim, maybe Benon is going through male menopause. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% certain what menopause is. I've obviously heard of it many, many times in the past, Mindy, but I don't know what it actually is. Can you explain it from... I know it's a woman thing. Can you explain it? A female thing, sorry. A woman thing.
I don't know. It's just a thing they've labeled the irregular balances of hormones.
Oh, okay.
But
so nothing
I don't
to be...
think that men go through it though, but I don't know.
How come if it's hormonal, men and women have hormones, don't they? They both have them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And if the hormones go wrong, all kinds of other stuff follows. So
yeah.
Now there is a school of thought as far as when you have symptoms from the shots. I've heard some doctors theorize that if you at one point did have COVID, that you would be more reactive to the shots. So that could be it. I know there was a couple times in the last year or so that you were kind of under the weather, just slightly, not like you were bedridden, and that could have been COVID. It's not like you were tested each time you had a runny nose or
That's true.
anything.
That's true. I always said that I felt like I did get it in the end of or the beginning of 2020 in March.
Especially when you had that GI thing.
The GI?
You had when you were staying up in Sydney when your sister was in Germany.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And then your mom had gotten it too, you had said?
Yeah, she did. She came down terribly with it. My thoughts were all the symptoms matched that they said this is COVID. The only reason I didn't have the test was because I didn't have the shortness of breathing or the any respiratory issues. And at the point that happened, that's what they were saying. If you do have any respiratory issues or shortness of breath, go and get tested. Otherwise, self-isolate. Don't do anything else.
Right. My sister recently had it, and she had been vaccinated with the Johnson & Johnson. Okay. And her husband had not had any vaccination. And Celeste hadn't told me that Gus had been real sick, but I knew that she had had a runny nose, super, super runny nose, but no headache or anything. She's just like, what is up with my nose? And it had just been running like crazy for like 4 days. And she was actually going to be coming to visit me on a Saturday. That Friday morning, she called me, said, now I'm stuck in the bathroom and I have a runny nose. I'm like, what?
Wow.
And I said, you better get tested, because she never has GI problems at all. Never, ever, ever does she. And then she said, yeah, Gus has been in bed for like a week with body aches and a real bad cough. I'm like, he gave it to you. And
wow.
Anyway, so she actually our Walgreens. Do you guys have a Walgreens? We have it's a little drugstore corner place where they have a pharmacy and they have all kinds of other like knickknacks and some groceries and stuff.
Right.
But we've got a CVS and Walgreens carry an in-home COVID test.
Okay.
And she was able to order that and have DoorDash bring it to her house. And she tested herself, and within 15 seconds, the 2 lines, it's like a pregnancy test, but of your nose. And the 2 lines came up saying she was positive. So she knew she had it. So she canceled her trip here.
Wow.
And quarantined for 2 weeks. Luckily, she works from home because she really had no other discomfort whatsoever. And she didn't have any GI symptoms after that one morning. It was just the runny nose is all she had.
Huh.
Her husband unluckily lived through it. It didn't kill him.
Unluckily. Did you say unluckily?
Oh, yes.
That's an in-family joke, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of kidding on the square.
She
I
thought
kinda mean it.
this is the way I'm going to get rid of him finally.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, but he pulled through somehow, and but so I
Yeah.
don't know.
Interesting.
But yeah, so and she's doing fine, and he's fine now, other than he's really fatigued, but he's kind of a heavy drinker, so he's not really very fit anyway.
Right. What's your take on Elon Musk? Famously, or not famously, but notably in early 2020, he tweeted that he had 4 tests in the same day, and 2 of them turned up positive and 2 of them turned up negative. What's your take on that? Like, how can the test results come back so different in the same space of time?
Well, I wasn't the one giving him that test, and I'm not the pathologist that came up with the results or
Yeah.
saw the results, so I don't believe anything that he says.
Oh, okay. Just straight up,
you know.
not. You think he's made that up?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if in fact that happened, that'd be very easy to explain, and that there are most definitely false negatives. There are never false positives. So if in fact that is the truth, then he had it at that time.
And the false negatives were the right. Okay, I see. Yeah, I mean, so I would have said I felt confident that I had it this week, and with this mouth ulcering crap, I was
Now,
pretty
see, that points more towards, that doesn't point towards a COVID symptom. That points towards your immune system reacting to a vaccine. It could have happened to any vaccine, because your immune system, if you have sores, your immune system is constantly keeping that at bay. If it's some virus that you had at some point in time, it's always holding that stuff at bay. And then you put a further strain, like kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing.
Gotcha.
You put a further strain and request on your immune system, and then it's like, okay, well, I can't hold on to all this other shit then.
I see. So that makes sense. So
Yeah.
So it's been overloaded with the jab overloaded me, and my immune system went, well, okay, we tried the best we could for this. This is going to win for a while. Yeah, I see.
Exactly.
Yeah. That does make sense.
Had things like that. That's why you had a whole bunch of people with heart issues that came up all of a sudden.
Right.
You had things that were just on the brink that people didn't really know about. Kind of like fell over the edge because they had just pushed their immune system a little bit. When I knew I was going to be getting the shot, I knew a couple months in advance, I started really increasing my uptake of vitamin D, which strengthens your immune system.
Yep.
And really trying to take in all kinds of antioxidants. I put tons of spinach in my omelets. I ate steamed broccoli with like every single meal. I ate 2 or 3 apples a day.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that now I should have always been doing that anyway, but how it goes, we don't always make the right choices.
Well, that's sorry to cut you. Go ahead.
I started losing weight, and I was like, what the hell? And I realized what I was doing was there's this thing called Calorie Density, and you can fill yourself up with like broccoli and carrots and not have taken in a lot of calories, but you're really filling your stomach up, and so you don't feel hungry. And so I was ending up, when I would eat lots of vegetables and fruits, I would eat less pasta, less rice, less potatoes, and inadvertently lost weight. So I've continued that. One, I've decided it's really good to strengthen my immune system anyway. I'm getting old. And 2, I needed to lose weight. So
bonus.
far. And I lost 7 pounds while I was on vacation.
What? On vacation you lost weight? That's a good sign. It's like, well, let's all go on vacation then. We can all lose weight.
If I could just stay on vacation, I'd be set.
That's awesome. Do you know what? I was going to ask you, speaking of the immune system and stuff, I've been doing this different diet now because of the enlarged prostate. I'm not too sure if you saw all that stuff, but I do have.
No, I saw that.
Yeah. And I've been going hardcore with garlic, like daily, a whole clove of garlic down. And, well, to be honest, a couple of them have been a very difficult swallow. Like some of them I've got caught as it's going down. And it's a bit frightening. There was one instance 2 days ago where it got stuck down here.
So wouldn't it be more digestible if you broke it down?
Well, here's the thing. The first time I did it, I popped a whole clove and I got close to vomiting the next, about 12 hours later at night. I had to have a bucket next to me. I thought I was going to throw my guts up. Then that's the very first time I popped one. So my body was like, what are you doing? This is too much of this, whatever this is. So the next day I halved the dose. The next day I took the day off, and the day after I went with half dose, and I haven't felt the vomit need at all. But what I have noticed is, now you do know this, I guess, I don't know it, but your esophagus, like your throat and your esophagus, is very malleable, right? Like you could put
the esophagus is very malleable.
Right, so I could put a garlic clove that big in and I could swallow that easily, or I could put a garlic clove in the size of my pinky fingernail and that'd go down easily too. But if I don't relax it, both of those will be hard to go down. So one day I took probably about a size of, excuse my bird finger, probably about a size of that, and it got stuck. And I knew, and the scary...
Where did you feel it get stuck? Can you point to the spot where you felt it?
About here.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
the muscles much past tongue, once you have swallowed it, all the muscles going down all the way through, it comes behind your thyroid on the left side. It goes down kind of next to your heart, and then it comes through your diaphragm. And those muscles you cannot control. That's just peristalsis that it will do normally. Now, when it gets something, if something has an edge to it,
that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah,
there's
going. Folds within our bowel and our esophagus, and if it catches on that bowel, it'll cause a muscular spasm. It'll tighten up on itself to protect itself if it feels as though it's being poked.
Right.
And so that's why I was saying, if you crush it, with a garlic press, and just eat it in a salad or eat it in whatever meal you want to eat it in. Garlic works with everything in my book. Unless you're having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something.
I know people that do it. I know people that put garlic on watermelon. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Russian athletes. I worked at a circus, Cirque du Soleil, and I was a prep chef for the performance artists. And
cool.
the strong men and the girls who, if you've ever seen Alegria, that was the tour. The girls who sit on their own head, they so flexible they can put their ass on their own head.
Oh yeah, I've seen the videos.
Yeah, they literally spoon garlic onto watermelon and eat it. Like there's just a whole ramekin full of garlic and oil, and they just spoon that crap on daily. But what I was going to say, and by the way, Chad, I'm sorry I didn't say hello, Chad, as you came in, and Tim. When I have a guest on, I definitely miss a lot of the chat, but g'day, Chad, and g'day, Aerogamer. What I was going to say, when that went down, I got to a point where I was like, I can understand how people get nervous and they could possibly die, but the thing is, you can still breathe. So.
Oh yes, your trachea is fine. It didn't go down your trachea.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay.
Your esophagus comes off. So our mouth is one. The trachea comes up and joins the oral pharynx with the esophagus and is one unit. But they separate right after the tongue.
Right.
And so the trachea stays midline and the esophagus goes to the left.
So I stopped there for a second and I went, okay, this is not comfortable. This is something I don't want to do again, but how to get around it? It's got to go down. It's got to go all the way down. So, I probably could have Heimlich maneuvered and coughed it up. I said, I'm going to send this down and I'm going to make a change to it from here on in. So I got just a bunch of water. I just sat there and I went, breathe it in, feel it. And I could feel, it's like, okay, it's not moving. Get a whole bunch of water and just let gravity force it down. And it went down. And so then what I did was I made a decision to only do smaller cloves. But and this is what you just said, I literally cut it with a knife and just swallowed them. And I felt them getting stuck in those folds that you mentioned. I could feel it poking in. And I was like, okay. So they got to be smaller. So now I've been doing little pinky sections, and I guess what I'm getting at is the reason I popped the whole clove initially, I didn't want to taste it because I didn't want to have the taste in my mouth. I love garlic, but I don't want to have the taste of garlic all day just from popping one garlic clove. So now when I'm cutting
you will have the taste and the smell by just eating it regardless. And if you don't, that means it's not being broken down very well.
Well, I gotta be honest. I don't have any. I mean, I don't have bad breath. It's up to the person that you're talking to tell you that.
No, I don't mean it. Your breath. I mean just the person smells of garlic.
Ah, okay.
And their sweat on their skin if they've been consuming a lot of garlic.
It's interesting because I genuinely, aside from some, let's just say some really pungent poos, aside from that, there hasn't been any great change for me. I don't sweat much anyway. Like I'm not really a sweaty guy. Like even in the summer, I mean, I'll sweat a little in the summer, but I don't sit here perspiring. But
sure.
But I know what you mean. I have worked with people that you're like, oh, dude, I can smell what you ate last night for just from your body smell. I know what you mean. But what I'm trying to avoid is, because as soon as, and I know this from cooking, as soon as you cut something, you release all the oils and everything. Like basil, right? As soon as you start tearing basil, it's beautiful because all the oils come out, and it's like, oh, that's the flavor. But I don't want to get that from the garlic. I just want to pop it, get it in me, and get it done. But I'm learning.
Well, just make sure it's smooth. Make sure there's no edges to it.
But it's hard once you cut it. What do you got to file it down or something?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Might as well try it. Your fingers will probably smell like it though.
That's true.
Or just round it off with a knife. Carve it.
That's true.
Round.
Yeah, could do that. It's intriguing though because I'm doing all this for the health, and you could just pop a pill as well and get way more garlic from a pill, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was a very It
just depends on who made the pill and who, I mean, it's.
Yeah, true.
I mean, garlic and all veggies in their true form are the best instead of getting the processed,
of course,
versions. But I'm not sure I agree with garlic about the prostate, but I haven't done any research.
Okay? Well, yeah, I did.
Since you don't have any urinary retention, any post-void residual, I'm not sure why we're worried about an enlarging prostate.
I do have a little of that. You might have missed it on the DLive. There has been.
Oh, you do now? Well,
yeah. There's
been time I
been dripping. They call it post-void drip. No, post-void leakage. Yeah.
And so did you have your post-void residual scanned again with ultrasound since?
No, I haven't done anything like that except investigate different methods of, holistically fixing it first, and then I'll go down. I should go and get another prostate cancer. I should go back down that avenue because that was about a year and a half ago when we first brought this up, and I got the blood tests and the urine samples back all clear, no prostate cancer. But that wasn't the field test, and I said to the doctor, shouldn't that happen as well? And he said, look, let's just get the results back first, and then
if there's no tumor marker, then you're good.
Yeah.
But you've got to be able to pee.
Exactly.
And that's I can't. My phone's battery's going low too quickly for me to explain why it's so important for men to empty their bladder completely. Because let's say today your post-void residual is this much. You don't know exactly how much it is, but it's something.
Yeah.
But that stays and it enlarges and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then your bladder will get so big that your kidneys can no longer empty into your bladder, and then they'll get really big and really big and really big. Then your kidney function will go down, your blood pressure will go up, you'll have a stroke, and everyone will be like, what happened? And you won't notice it because your bladder will just gradually get bigger and bigger and bigger. So you won't experience like pain, like, why didn't it hurt? Why didn't I know? Well,
oh, shit.
You've been so used to a full bladder. Well, it's kind of full, but I'm okay. It just slowly gets bigger and bigger, and it creeps up on you. And then a year down the line, it doesn't take too long because the kidney's always making urine, right?
Right.
Well, all that urine's got to empty out every single time, or there's a big problem.
You're frightening me, but you're right. I understand. I understand what you're saying. It makes sense.
I see it every day. I scan kidneys of men who their prostate is enlarging. They had no idea their bladder is this big. They actually came into the doctor because they had a headache. They had a headache because of the high blood pressure, which happened due to the kidney failure, which happened because the kidneys couldn't get rid of the urine it was making. And so it blocked the kidney's function, and all because of an enlarged prostate that no one knew about.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. This is terrifying.
So instead of
Kurtzky.
swirling around with the garlic, get that ultrasound. Just ask, hey, I want to know how much retention do I have? Now, if you have leaking, that can be any number of issues. But if your bladder is empty, after you empty, then
you're good.
Then we know you're safe from all of that.
Okay. All right. Now this is, you see what's happened here? I asked you to come on and help me check this setup, and instead we get absolute gold, which you work in the health profession,
Yeah, so I'm very good with anatomy and imaging, and I don't know, a little bit of everything, I guess.
This is awesome.
At my hospital, even the chief of staff, the chief medical officer, calls me Dr. Mindy, because I know a little bit about everything,
Okay. And you got frogs in your front yard too. All the things
and I got
check
frogs.
off here.
I mean, do they come any cooler than that?
That's right. And it's a cool frog. It's a gray tree frog. Yeah. That's awesome. So I'll go and start the process again and say, I'm pretty certain since I last spoke to you, doctor, I think I do have some kind of urine retention issue. Let's go down that avenue and we'll go from there. I made the decision to try the holistic approach, which I'll continue to do. But it's
garlic's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, it's great to get the ultrasound and get all that done as well, and then clarify it. Yeah. No.
And if there's any hesitation on the side of the doctor, let's just go. Listen, I'm really concerned that I might inadvertently be causing damage to my kidneys, and I just want to find out if my bladder is in.
Won't he say straight away, well, let's do a blood pressure test and see if your blood pressure's up?
No. I mean, he might, but that's not good enough. Your bladder could still be the size of a watermelon, but your kidneys haven't failed yet, and so your blood pressure won't do anything. What happens first is the bladder gets full, and so you've got to see if you are emptying it completely.
Okay.
If I was there, I would do it myself. You could just come into my work, and I would just scan you. You wouldn't even have to ask a doctor.
Dude, why is this world so large? I'd come in today if that was the case. What? So it's literally just he'd have to refer me. In Australia, the GP refers you to the hospital and they do the ultrasound for you. Probably the same process there, but yeah, okay. All right, I'll get that done. And as far as this layout and everything, thank you very much for helping me. I think what I'll do is I'm kind of thinking about putting all this stuff like the logo and everything on the bottom where I normally have it, and have the links to down below and etc. And then when I have a guest up on top where your head is, there could be the guest's information. I don't know. I'll still work it out, but
yeah.
Mindy,
you could always tell your doctor that Mindy Northrup sent you and she said so, and she's somewhat of an expert, and he could Google me.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Unpublished.
Then he will say, "You've been seeing another doctor? What is going on here? Why are you doing this to me? I try to give you all the help I can, and you go see somebody else?" And I'll say, "It's a second opinion, sir." It's, the second opinion. You're always going to get me with the second opinion.
It'll be like them damn Americans always causing trouble.
He's actually a nice dude, this guy. I've seen him a few times, and he's pretty funny. He was funny about the prostate thing. He said, the prostate," and then he got his gloves out. And I was like, he was being silly though. He's like, and I said, "Oh, already?" And he said, "I'm just being silly." And he put it back down. I thought that was cool. Yeah. Aero Gamer says it's great to put a face to Mindy. You've never seen Mindy before. She's helped out a bunch of times in the past with these. But I tell you what, Mindy, every time you help out, we wind up having a great conversation. So I feel like we should, once this is up and running and I've had a few different goes at interviews, let's actually have a chat. Like because right now you're holding your camera. I'd like you to sit down and put a, like maybe have a drink with you or something, and let's spend a bit of time. Yeah. Instead of just doing the test and then having the conversation, let's actually have conversation. Yeah.
Sure, that'd be fun.
Next time we'll put you Dr. Mindy in brackets. You said unpublished, right?
No, I am published.
Oh, you are published.
Yeah. And most of my publications have to do with kidney stuff. Just so happens. I mean, my first publication was I found an anomaly that had never been documented before in the setting that I had found it anyway. And all the rest of mine have been kidney, or there's been some bowel cancers, but most of it's been kidneys.
Okay.
And then I'm relatively famous in the ultrasound community due to my my instructional videos on my channel.
Huh. I mean, yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we could have Dr. Mindy appointments monthly. Dr. Mindy monthly. That could be pretty cool.
People could tell me what kind of problems they're having, and I could give them little suggestions or what I know.
I mean, there literally is the facility right here to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 people on this panel with us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we could definitely. I mean, that's the thing, right? That now that we've got this sort of almost sorted, I think we should go down that avenue for sure. Like,
cool.
Do something. All right, Mindy, I'll let you go. I know you said your battery's on the way out. I'll let you go. Yeah. Thank you so much for your assistance and for your guidance. I will make an appointment to see my doctor this week, and we'll go down that avenue. Retention.
All right, I'll check back with you and make sure you did what I tell you.
Otherwise, I'm going to wrap across my knuckles.
I'm kind of a controlling friend.
Thank you, Mindy. I appreciate it. Cheers very much. All right, see you later.
See ya.
How about that, folks? And that there is how I will do interviews. I did not expect such, the details and what we spoke about. I did not expect this, but isn't that wonderful that we have someone in this community? Let's bring the chat back up. In this community that we can have these discussions like this. That was incredible. And by the way, what I'm seeing here on screen, aside from the rotating logo, I could emulate that sort of, and the logo down below underneath it. I could set that up. I think it'll be a little different, but I think I'll work on it. Panels are great. I like the format. Chad, I really think this is the way. So these live streams on YouTube seem to be, it's like a chance to, I want to be different. I want there to be a difference between my DLive and my YouTube streams. And I think the way that we could make it different is by literally opening, like imagine, I want to do a thing in my Discord where I say, who should I interview on YouTube? And then one week someone says, you should interview this person. And then I'll spend, some streams on DLive that week watching their content. And then I'll put the call out to them and say, hey, do you want to come on my YouTube channel and have a chat? And then I've done some background research by watching their content. You guys who watch me on DLive have seen a bit of their content. And then the next thing that we know, we're on a Saturday morning or whatever the time it is. It could be different for them for time zones. I'll organize it through DMs and whatnot. And then we'll have them on. Have a good chat. Talk about their content, whatever. Like just get this. If anything, DLive's taught me that the conversation is what's important. And I feel like that's what's lacking on my YouTube content, the conversation. So let's try to up the conversation level. Should do that, Gibbs. Yeah, I think that's going to be what we do from here on in. I really wish over here on the actual broadcast, we could have the background. See, there's a few different things here. The background doesn't move. It's just a different setup, and it's a little bit darker. And that's just me. I got a little technical issues that I'll work out, but we'll definitely work it out. Anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap this up here. Thanks again to Mindy. Thanks everybody who's been here with me. Appreciate all of you in the chat. Like I said, I will miss chat conversations when we have guests on. It's just the nature of the beast. But thanks for being here. And I guess if you're interested, I'll be on DLive later on watching a doco. We're going to watch some music doco. I'll see you all next time.